High school's a weird place that they say never ends, and the emotional damage it leaves behind certainly makes it feel that way. And these unusual things are so iconic to high school that it'll trigger anyone that survived the place. And if you didn't go to US high school, don't worry, we'll get you caught up in no time. Right, let's get started with that Hollywood cornerstone, lockers. I'm sure everyone's seen clips on TV of either bullies throwing nerds into them or valley girls gossiping next to them, but either way, they're always there. And while not exclusive to the US, the amount they show up in our favourite shows and movies, it would be wrong not to include them. Now, the most important and hardest thing in high school may just be finding out where your locker is, if it's near your friends, and remembering your locker combination. I always had the worst luck with this, and at the beginning of every semester I'd find myself near no one I knew, and I'd have to spend most of the day trying to figure out which way to spin the dial on the combination in order to get it to work. I'll tell you what was really interesting though. Seeing what people stored in them. And you could find anything from makeup to office supplies to food, sometimes even dirty gym clothes that would absolutely stink and it would just emanate from the locker. My locker was kind of rubbish, as all it had in it was a spare shirt, and then I just used it as a dumping ground for all the spare textbooks and handouts that I never studied. The next thing I wasn't too much of a fan of, as we had to do it every day. But it certainly wasn't the worst thing about high school. That one I'll save till the end. So towards the beginning of your day, you'd have to go to homeroom or registration, whatever you want to call it. And this is where they would take roll and make sure everyone made it to school okay, and there's nothing really unusual about this. But what you may find different is that in the corner of the room, there'd often be an American flag hanging or a TV that could be broadcast to. And this is for the Pledge of Allegiance, which is kind of like a shortened light version of the national anthem. And each morning at the same time, everyone would have to stand up, turn and face the flag, put their hand over their heart and recite the pledge. Now if you're wondering what the classes with the TVs in the corner did, don't worry, they just broadcast a picture of the flag instead. I'm not gonna lie, coming from the UK where we don't really have anything similar, it felt kind of odd. I think if you were going to make something similar in the UK, it would be the equivalent of coming to school, turning towards a picture of the king and then reciting the national anthem. But I don't know, would you like to see something similar to this where you're from? And tell you what, if you are from somewhere that has something similar to this, let me know in the comments down below. The next thing was by far the absolute best thing about high school. No school uniforms. For the UK at least, where wearing a school uniform and a tie is still normal, this was huge. Growing up, I remember watching shows and movies like Saved by the Bell and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and was so jealous that they just got to wear normal clothes. By the way, how good of a movie was Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Bueller?
I really need to watch that again. Honestly, the freedom on that first day of high school, when I went over to the closet and got to pick out whatever I wanted to wear, it was mega. This played into another kind of classic TV trope as well, where you can clearly see all the different groups of people as you walk around. The jocks, goths, stoners, they were all there. And since there weren't any school uniforms, you could also see another tradition, which is Letterman jackets. Now these are also called varsity jackets, and are often worn by your classic jocks to represent their various sports teams. It was usually a requirement for members of the team to wear the jackets on game days, and so it wasn't unusual to see big crowds of people walking around in them. I know there are a lot of rules about who got to wear the jackets on a team, but this seemed to vary a lot, and the most consistent rule seemed to be that it was reserved for players on the starting lineup or first string. Okay, so you've made it this far in the video, but I bet you're still wondering what the worst thing about high school is. Well, it's pep rallies. This to me has to be the worst thing, the most pointless of all high school traditions. It happens early Friday afternoons before a sports event, so usually sometime like football season, and they literally stop classes to bring all the students out to the stadium to try and hype everyone up and encourage school spirit for the football game that will happen that night. And in my experience, absolutely no one cares. The cheerleaders shake their pom-poms and do their routine, all to support the football players and hear once again how they're going to beat whatever the other team name is oh so badly. Honestly, it feels like a hostage situation.
This is what's going to happen, you're going to let all those hostages go.
Where you have to be there, you can't leave, and you will support this team whether you like the sport or not. And all the while you're being yelled at through a bullhorn to wear the school colours and chant really loud. I mean, how would you all feel if you had to go sit on some bleachers in a hot gym for like an hour to summon up some fake motivation to support a team you honestly couldn't care less about? Anyway, I think that's enough ranting about that. However, if you would like to learn more interesting things about the US, make sure you check out my other video here. And as always, everyone, I'm Jack, this is Explore from Indoors, everyone stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next video.